this video is for if you miss class or if you miss something during class. So 8.5 area of circles, just go through the examples we did in class. So to come up with the area formula of a circle, there's our circle. So imagine if we had a paper plate and we fold it in half, we fold it in half again, and we keep doing this till we get to about there. Okay, and then what we're going to do next is unfold the circle and cut out each slice and then arrange it in the shape of a parallelogram. So then we have, that's the base and the height. And so the area of a parallelogram is just base times height. But the height in this case is actually the radius of the circle, and the base is 1/2 the circumference. And so circumference is 2 pi times the radius. So if we take half of that, then this base part is actually just equal to pi r. So this is equal to pi r, and this is equal to r. And so when we take the area formula and multiply base times the height, in this case we take pi r times by r again, and we get pi r squared. So the area of any circle, we just need to know the radius, square it, and then multiply by pi. So here's an example. Here we're given the diameter of an apple pie in the shape of a circle is 8. So that actually means the radius is 4. Then we know a large cherry pie has a radius of 5. Okay, which pie is larger? By how much? So, I mean, obviously the large one's going to be bigger, but by how much? Then what we need to do is just take the radius of the larger one, square it, multiply by pi, and then the radius of the smaller one, square it, multiply by pi, and then actually evaluate these on the calculator. So 25 times pi is about 78.5398, and 16 pi is 50.2654. So, if we rounded these to the nearest tenth, 78.5, that's one decimal, and we subtract 50.3, then we get a difference of about 28.2, or difference of about 28. So the cherry pie is bigger by about 28 inches. Okay. Another example. So if the area, now we're given the area of a circle, it's 256 pi meters squared. What is the circumference? So then first thing we want to do is set this equal to pi r squared, because that's the formula for the area. Okay, and then we can solve this equation for r. Divide both sides by pi. R squared equals 256, and now we take the square root of both sides. R equals 16. So the radius of this is 16. Now circumference is given by 2 pi times the radius, or diameter times pi. And so we can just plug this in. If the radius is 16, the diameter is 32. So the circumference is 32 pi. That's exact, or we can round it to about 100.53. Just depends on where we want to round this. Okay, example 3, we've got a square. They tell us ABCD is a square, so all the sides are the same. We want to find the area of this shaded region. So in this case, we want to find the area of the circle first, subtract the area of the square, because the circle is going to be bigger. So we just think of this as like cutting out this square. So we're going to subtract it off. So then the area of the circle, we need to find the radius. So if we go from here all the way to the edge of the circle, that's the x distance. So that's 5 because of this. So we do 5 squared times pi. So the area of that circle is 25 pi. Now to get the area of the square, we can't really, I wouldn't expect you to be able to find this length, because normally we would want the length of this side, let's call it x, and we would just do, the area of a square would just be x squared. But we can't, I wouldn't expect you to find that right now. But so we're going to do a different method and say, okay, if this side's 5, that means this side is also 5, and we get this right triangle. And we know how to find the area of a right triangle is just base times height divided by 2. So that's 25 over 2, which is 12 and a half. And so the area of this triangle is 12 and a half. That means the area of all 4 of these is 12 and a half. So then we just multiply 12 and a half times 4, and we get 50 for the area of the square. So then just be careful here. You want to do 25 pi first. That's bigger than 50. It's about 78.5. We just did that, and then subtract 50, and we get about 28.5 for the area of that gray shaded region. It says write your answer in terms of pi. Now that's interesting. That would actually be this answer. Because if we write it in terms of pi, that means leave pi in the answer. Don't multiply it out. But that means we can't really subtract the 50. So then sometimes mathematicians, they like things in exact form instead. And so they would just write it like this, 25 pi minus 50, and leave it. Okay. This problem is a problem we'll get to eventually, a kind of a challenge problem to find the area of the circle. If we know this pentagon has a regular pentagon has each side length is 6, how would we get the area of the circle? So I won't do this one in the video. We'll come back to it because actually you need a bit more knowledge, especially about trigonometry, which is the study of right triangles. So we'll get to that probably in the spring. Thanks for watching.